Okay, and we are live. Okay, so let's just check that everyone who wants to be is connected. Because we don't have Mark today, somebody else is going to have to share their screen for Dave. So if we could have somebody call themselves out as the duly designated driver. Thank you, Liz. What was that? Somebody has joined into the chat with clipping enabled. And there was something else. That was a weird notification. I've never had that on Discord before.
I just want to watch the intro.
Okay. All right. God, I'll get to it. Can I just first confirm everybody who is logged in? It looks like. Chris and Chris, Connie and Liz. No Mark, so yeah, and of course Dave cannot. Everybody who wants to is hearing something through Sirenscape, yes?
Yep.
Spiffy. In that case, I shall indeed turn off the intro music and the ship rumble, and I will get us, as per request, straight to the intro video. See you in a couple of moments, folks. Hello, folks, and welcome along to the continuing adventures of the USS Combs. I am MJ the GM, and I shall be your games master for the next couple of hours. And with me are the majority of the Combs crew, though sadly, as has been noted, not our operations officer, who is, at the moment, it seems, enjoying / not enjoying the mud at Download Festival. So,
It wouldn't be a festival without it. Come on.
It certainly wouldn't be a festival in this country without the sheer levels of mud that one has to contend with. Truth.
As somebody who lives kind of close-ish to Download, the weather this weekend has been atrocious. Like we've had like three thunderstorms in like 2 days.
Wow. Usually it's Wales that gets most of the rain, and we've actually had no thunderstorms. So, you bloody English now taking our weather as well. I don't know.
I got scared yesterday. Lightning hit behind behind where I live.
Oh, blimey.
Very, very close.
I have myself only encountered a very close lightning strike myself, and I can confirm it does sound like a bomb going off in the near vicinity.
It does. Yes.
Just send those thunderstorms to the East Coast. Come on.
Of course, we don't have anything near compared to the thunderstorms of the East Coast, so yeah.
I've had it where the hairs on my neck started standing up. That's what I kind of picked up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, that's when you know standing outside, not a very good idea. In any case...
Yep, that's when you know it's close.
We do wish Mark a fun time at Download. Let's hope he comes back. Well, at least with all that mud, you would imagine people's skin would be in a lot better condition. I don't know. I'm reaching now for anything to say. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's.
I was gonna say, with that mod at download, I don't think you're coming back with good. Even if you like got it all over you, I don't think you're coming back with good skin. I think you're coming back with some kind of infection.
Oh dear.
Nice thought. Which, considering Flesk is a germphobe, I kind of
Yeah.
now picture Mark furiously scrubbing himself as he comes back. You never know, Mark might actually take a page out of his own character and start wearing a hazmat suit all around the house. So, what he does in the privacy of his own home, of course, is up to him. But nevertheless, let's move on before this conversation goes into even more weird territory than it already has. Before we delve into our summary of the episode, we shall do the usual plugs. So first up is the Utter Crisp.
Hello, thank you. Surprise, surprise, not too much has changed on the channel. Just started a new job recently, so that's been taking up all my time. Work does continue on the now, the fabled Yakuza video. I swear it is coming at some point, but we're done when it's done. In the meantime, there's some other videos on there for you to just binge should you feel so inclined. If you like retro gaming, and that's me. Thank you.
And as per usual, for Mr. Bell, we have Solarity and others to follow.
Yes, I do. I swear I do have more stuff coming in the pipeline. That's pretty much all I can say. I do now have a link for the Legends of Campion, which
I couldn't find last time, so I apologise for that. So here it is, right there.
Partly because of the slightly weird spelling, but yes, I'm in there as Fritch, the Goblin Bartender. Or basically listen out for the one who sounds a lot like Max from the Princess Bride, and you'll pretty much took that's me.
Oh, the temptation now to start quoting from the Princess Bride is extremely high, but for the sake of not getting sued, I will abstain.
I'll stop there then. I was right about to do that then.
Yeah, me too. I'm fighting the urge, I really am. One of the best films ever made. We'll leave it at that. So, once again, Legends of Campion, My Crucified Life, Solarity, Midwinter, The Utter Crisp. Here you go, folks. Thank you very much. Right. So let's leap right into this. We have the crew of the Combs have now been issued their marching orders. Everybody who is not, everybody of the Federation currently on Narendra Station has been told to leave. The Klingons have now laid claim to the Arcanus sector, which is part of the Federation, very close to the Klingon borders. And as such, outright hostilities have now broken out between the United Federation of Planets and the Klingon Empire. As such, the Klingons who lay the majority of claim to Narendra Station, or Starbase 364 as we also know it, have ordered all Federation civilians, citizens and Starfleet personnel to pack their bags and leave. And that's something that's going to be going on. But in the meantime, Captain Akul and his crew of the Klingon ship Mapui, who have been allies to the crew of the Combs up to this point, have requested the Combs crew, or the command crew of the Combs at least, take part in a Klingon ritual, which is a ritual meant to part company as honoured adversaries almost. They were friends before, but now they're parting ways as honourable enemies. A ritual that dates back to the time during the internecine house conflicts of the Klingon Empire, when allegiances would shift, and so some minor or medium houses would one day be allied with somebody, and then the next day when alliances shift, they might end up on the opposite side of a conflict, and therefore this ritual came about in order to have honoured friends kind of transition into that place as honoured adversaries. So that's what the crew have been asked to do. And so far, we have had a kind of like a team competition, capture the flag competition, where the crew of the Combs did win it by points after some very interesting tactics were used to keep the Klingons off balance. But in the meantime, we've also noticed that certain bets have been getting placed on who might win in these contests, and so we've moved on to contest number 2, which is a test of speed. So I'm going to change us over to... So out of the Klingon crew, the Mapui crew, Junior Officer Shun and Helm Officer Ver have been the two selected of the Mapui crew that were going to be the ones to run, whereas Lieutenant Garrow and Lieutenant Gurkow were the ones of the Combs crew who were being elected to do their team's run, to see who would reach the end of the course first. But it's not just the runners who are involved, it's also whoever else wants to try and assist the runners in finding the correct and most speedy path to get to the end of the course, but also you can try and make things a little bit more difficult for your adversaries. But in the midst of all this friendly competition, somebody, it seems, has been hacking into security terminals and has been closing doors in Garrow's and Gurkow's faces in order to try and stymie their progress, whilst also allowing doors to be opened to admit the Klingon runners so that they gain more of a lead. Now, whereas one would assume naturally that the Klingons were kind of playing a little dirty here, turns out that thanks to Tavish and Flesk having a good old prod at these security hacks that have been going on, that they aren't Klingon handprints all over this, but Orion handprints over this. At which point I do believe it was Lieutenant Commander Flesk who pretty much announced that the Orions, it looks like they're trying to rig the game. So, with that in mind, I believe Lieutenant Tavish and Lieutenant Commander Flesk had gotten a rough idea as to where the Orions were hacking into the security system, and so Tavish and Flesk were going off to have a little word with the Orions. And that's pretty much where we find ourselves. So, I'm just going to switch us over to different set of ambience, if it follows. There we are. So, most of the people who still live on the station, and even those who are set to leave, lined the runways, cheering on for who they think should win. And so we have our runners from either side still doing their running, and the helpers of the runners still very much helping. But whilst all this is going on, Tavish and Flesk have disappeared in order to try and see if they can't find who is trying to mess with everything that's going on. So, I am going to hand us over...
I actually...
Go on.
Oh.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, I've got a little bit of an idea of who it could be.
Okay.
So there was somebody waiting at the door. One of the doors.
Uh-huh.
And it was a bit weird of them staying there.
Now, when you say the doors, did you mean the Klingon training?
It was on
bit
the
at
course.
start? Oh, it was on the course.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was the run itself. I don't remember there being anybody in particular.
Oh, you said it's when Hopkins was leading, there was a Orion by the door that kind of nodded at her.
Ah, yes. You did pass an Orion kind of leaning nonchalantly against a doorway, yes. Yes, there was indeed somebody. So, since Tavish and Flesk are going off pretty much on their own to do this, let's see how they fare. So the pair of them eventually do come across something. Searching around for the areas off the beaten path, as it were, that somebody might be doing something. They eventually come across an intersection where you can see a pair of Orions just kind of standing idly around. So, first blush, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna let's walk up to them.
Okie doke. So, obviously we don't have Mark with us, so somebody else can grab hold of. I mean, Liz, you're currently taking control of Tavish, but you can take control of both for the moment. Okay, cool. So as Tavish and Flesk are kind of working up, one of the other Orion guards kind of detaches himself. I say guards. One of the other Orions kind of detaches himself from the corner and walks up. And basically says, "Hey, Starfleet, where are you going?"
Oh, I've got to check on some systems.
I don't think you're employed here anymore, Starfleet. Didn't they give you your marching orders?
Why is that any concern of yours?
Well, we're the ones who are going to be living on this station after all of you are gone. Next to the Klingons, of course.
Yeah,
So this is really not your
sure
concern anymore.
Well, here's the thing. I'm sure the Klingons wouldn't like the fact that, somebody's trying to rig the race.
Rig the race?
I mean, I could always tell them.
The Orions kind of exchange glances. And one of them kind of gives a sideways nod to the others. And this guy that Flesk and Tavis have been talking to kind of detaches himself, while the other guy just kind of almost interposes himself. The Orions seem to have a conversation, but it's a bit out of the way. You can still hear the race going on, because you can still hear cheering as it's resounding through the halls and the other access ways of the station, but it's not as loud down here as it was for you up on the upper levels. So, what would you like to do?
I've been figuring to do this since last week. So I am going to do it. Tavish, with a complete blank expression on her face, just looks at all of the Orions and just goes, "Orions, resistance is futile."
Okay. Could I get you to get Tavish to give me a... This is a bluff and a half, this. Can I get a presence and command attempt, please? Two successes. Whoa, okay, this guy is standing there with an expression of, yeah, right. But then the more Tavish is staring at him, it's like, no, come on, this is not funny anymore. And there's this kind of gradual progression of this guy's facial features mirroring his emotions as he goes from amused incredulity, come on, pull the other one, to, no, seriously, you're starting to creep me out a bit now, to sudden furrowed brow of doubt, to sudden brow of worry, and he starts to slowly back off. And he reaches one hand behind him, and he seems to be shaking the hand up and down really, really fervently, which seems to get the attention of some of the others. They kind of put themselves up as a people wall. And this guy that Tavish has spooked the most seems to be putting a hand on what you think might be a holster. He's kind of fumbling with it a bit in his anxiety, shall we say. Let's not forget that Flesk is right next to Tavish as she said that, and we know that Flesk isn't of the most... He's a bit of an anxious temperament himself, so I imagine Flesk has given Tavish a sideways glance of, what?
Right, in my head, yeah, I'm going to talk to, is it Nilal?
Nilil, yep.
Nilil, that was it, Nilil, sorry. I will get it right one of these days.
That's right.
I will speak to Nilil and just go, I am doing a ruse. Do you think you could take over my speech for a moment, please?
Interesting. Something I haven't tried before. Actual nerve access. Allow me to test.
Yeah.
Just to add to the weirdness going on, Tavish's facial muscles start to spasm randomly. At first, there's a bit of a twitch to her right eye, and then it progresses over to her mouth starts making funny jerking motions. Kind of first to the left and then to the right a bit, and then she seems to cycle through trying different facial expressions. It goes from what you think might have been what Flesk thinks might have been an attempt at a smile, but turns out more like a grimace. And then Tavish kind of spontaneously bursts out with a all of a sudden, which makes the Orions go even further back by a step. What? Which kind of makes Flesk back up a little bit as well. It's at this point that I have to wonder, does Flesk have now put in an emergency communication to the others? Because stuff's getting a bit weird down here in the in the lower corridors. And since Mark isn't here, the rest of you, Chris, Connie, and Liz, have got carte blanche to dictate Flesk's actions. Within reason, of course.
I think Flesk would be the type to call for backup.
Yeah.
Please,
I don't
this
know.
is getting weird. So let's temporarily jump back to the guys who are running. So we have, for the moment, essentially eliminated Tavish and Flesk from proceedings, but let's jump back to the race itself. So this is technically a brand new round of the race. You weren't far from the end, but it's at this point, whilst folks like Sot and Zhang, Captain Sobek, Trasa are getting ready to figure out how they can help their two running partners the most, that's when Flesk sends a call saying, well, basically, we're down in one of the maintenance sections on deck X on the of the station. We've encountered some Orions, and Tavish is I think Tavish is having a fit.
Yeah.
Maybe send the doc.
Like the Borg origin story.
So it's up to you guys who you think of this lot might want to go to assist Flesk and Tavish with whatever's going on.
I mean, I'm a bit of a diplomat, right?
I mean, it honestly sounds like we need someone with a bit of brawn as well.
Okay.
What I'm hearing is send the doc to go look at Tavish, and send...
And send
Just find
Trasa
out
to
if
actually
he's doing
get
a
stuff
bit or
done.
not.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say that, but sure.
Everybody cool for that? In which case, let me...
We're leaving the captain at the...
Yes, leaving your captain and your helm officer to deal with more of the race. So what I will do then is we will take it that Sot and Trasa are now moving off at speed to try and find out what the hell's going on. Meanwhile, Zhang is... Go on, sorry.
Can I pick up Dr. Sot in the speedy, very new scouting? Antigraph? The antigraph one?
Just lob him over your shoulder and run off with him.
Why am I just constantly getting yeeted this episode?
Blame Tavish.
I'm a doctor, not a javelin.
Are we talking about using my my enhanced hover, my anti-grav sled?
Yes,
oh, I see. Bundle him onto the sled.
Because Hopkins had it. She was driving around.
She did, yes. She was doing recon so she can just zoom past. Taxi for Dr. Sot.
Please.
Keep your hands and legs inside of the cart. The emergency exits are here. And I shall stop riffing, pulling out of Disney's Aladdin right about now. So, with Sot and Trasa now no longer available for assisting Garrow and Gurkha, what would you like Zhang and Sobek to do as far as assisting the two runners?
Doesn't Sobek have, was it inspiration?
Sobek does indeed have inspiration. Can you imagine a Vulcan giving inspirational speech? Pump those legs. Victory is only a thought away.
Zhang does have navigation.
Zhang does have navigation, so she could pick out, some potential time-saving routes that maybe others haven't thought of. That's a good point. So let's see. So if we're going inspiration, that suggests Sobek gives presence and command. So, Mr. P, you could probably do that for me. 1 dice.
Could Sobek also use his teacher talent?
When you create an advantage for an ally that represents your guidance or advice, you may re-roll a d20. Okay, so rather than assisting, he's trying to create an advantage. So instead of rolling 1 dice, Chris, could you, to Captain Sobek, roll 2 dice using presence and command?
What would be presence and command?
Using inspiration as a focus, this is difficulty 2 to create an advantage.
Cool. Legion of Honor.
Okay. Well, the captain doesn't do the best job at inspiring somebody, possibly because he's trying to monitor what's going on with Flesk and Tavish at the same time that he's trying to see what's going on here with the guys. Plus, let's not also forget that your comms are being interfered with a little bit, so as Captain Sobek starts giving his inspirational speech, there's this whine of feedback that just cuts Sobek off halfway through. So it looks like it's going to be Zhang that's going to be helping us with our runners here and finding them a route. So, Liz, if you could be Zhang for me, giving us 1 dice, but with reason and con. With navigation as a focus, please. And that means we also have Gurkha giving us fitness and... if you're willing to spend the momentum, fitness and science.
Can I use the determination from Zhang to reroll that?
Since you don't have Sobek adding... Actually, no, if you're re-rolling, then yes, absolutely. Excuse me, absolutely you can. Absolutely you can. So there goes 1. That's... Oh, it's worse! It gets worse!
Man,
And she has got no Legion of Honor to draw upon, so she could spend another point of determination to re-roll that one again. Yikes! You know, last session where we didn't have much of any 20s, I think we see why that was happening. It was being saved up. There we go. One success. Okay. So, back to Gurkau. 1 dice, fitness and security, unless you want to spend momentum to make it science by doing the reading.
I'll spend a momentum if that's alright.
Yeah.
The one.
Yes, we need Gurkau to pump her little legs and win.
And it depends on
Go on, sorry.
me having an applicable focus, so I'll do that as well. With the reading.
Cool. That's good, that's good, that's good. Yep. Cool, 2 was so far. So now we get to Garrow as our fittest guy with his, his security rating of 5, his fitness of 10. So, Chris, if you could give us a roll for Garrow, 2 dice. Now, the
fitness, security, yeah.
This is 3, so you've got 2 successes so far, so go for it.
Hang on. Sorry, was it fitness, security, yeah?
Correct.
Okay. 2 dice or 1?
2 dice, please. You are the lead.
Okay, yeah. There we go. I don't need to use any focuses on this.
There aren't any applicable focuses that you have, certainly.
Okay, so 2 dice it is.
It's not bad at all. That's 2 successes, 4 in total. You get 1 over what was needed. So you can either bank that, or which I've just done, or you can spend that point of momentum to add an extra dice to the challenge dice I'm going to ask you to roll now. So what would you like it to be?
I will add it to the challenge.
Okay, in that case, rather than rolling 7, you actually roll me 8. Representing Garrow building on the advantages his fellows have been giving to... Okay, 6 and 3.
Ooh, hello.
6 with a resistance of 2 because your efforts are being interfered with. But with an effect, you can at least roll one of them down, which means you've got 5, which is enough for another breakthrough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You haven't quite hit the end, but you're very, very close. You can definitely hear, both Gurkau and Garrow, that the Klingons, on whatever route they're taking, are starting to branch back very close to where you are. You can hear the sound of Klingon boots pounding on the floor grating. So the Klingons are close by. It's almost neck and neck at this point. You can't be sure, but oof, very, very close. Meanwhile, one speedy anti-grav sled journey later, it should be the other way.
Ahead.
Sot has to grip onto the anti-grav sled pretty darned hard in order to stay on, whilst Trasa takes the corners very, very quickly. But both of them do arrive in... Both of them do arrive in the general area as they see Flesk kind of not sure what to do, and Tavish is still staring blankly at these Orions, with her face now starting to... It's almost like someone is finally getting the hang of how to move facial muscles.
Access successful. Please redefine your required actions. Basically, what do you want me to do?
Alright. Tell them that you want to get to the system they are protecting, and that is all. No harm will come to them if they do.
You, Orion humanoid thing. Allow me, access to the system you are protecting. Now.
To say that the Orions haven't a clue how to take this would be understating the expression of dumbfoundedness they have currently on their faces. And so eventually there's a voice from inside the room they seem to have been gathered around, at which point one of them just goes, "Oh, for heaven's sake, just shoot him!" So, let's throw this into initiative.
Oh, I was gonna try something.
Well, because of the whole everyone's not exactly sure what's going on kind of jobby, no one side gets advantage over the other, so we will do this in the usual fashion for Star Trek Adventures. You, them, you, them, you, them, you, them. So whom of you wishes to go first?
You know what? Let Tavish go first.
Okay. What does Tavish wish to do?
There's nothing I can overload.
There is something going on in this room, you're just not sure what. You can
Alright,
make an
I'm going to try
guess.
and get to... Can I try and get to that room then?
You've got 3 guys between you and said room, so how would you like to try and get there?
I don't know, push past them, barge past them.
Okay, so we're looking to just physically move them out of the way with actual physical momentum. So this sounds like this is going to be a this is going to be a fitness and security test for you because you're using speed and momentum to hoik past them. Now these are not Tavish's best traits.
No, they are not.
However, you have momentum and you have determination if you want to use them.
I think the only value I could use for a determination would be where there's a will, there's a way.
Yep. Sounds fine to me.
So yeah, let's do a determination. Let's use a determination.
All right then, Liz, if you could take command of Tavish for us, please.
Alright, what am I rolling again?
Fitness and security with a determination.
Fitness, security, determination. Yeah, you definitely would need the determination.
Yes, indeed. So they are going to try their own at there's 3 of them. You're trying to get past 1. 3 successes, not bad. I am going to represent these guys, giving each other an assist. So first there's that would suggest actions. They're just going to take it as is. I'm trying to barge past 1 guy. Okay. Because it's not Tavish's wheelhouse, I'm going to spend a point of threat and make it a little bit harder, but let's see. Ooh, I did not roll terribly well. As such, yes, Tavish kind of puts herself down and just races forwards, and it's at the guy that Tavish spooked. So this guy sees Tavish hurling headlong towards him. He fumbles at the pistol he's trying to draw and just goes, "Ah!" Puts his hands up and backs up, trips over himself, and Tavish barges him out the way. Comes to a halt on that door there. This guy lands on his butt. Okay, 1 freaked out Orion on the floor. Unless you spend momentum to seize the initiative, I am going to go next with one of these guys. Right, this guy hears the commotion and decides he is going to be elsewhere. As such, let's go with that. Ooh, oh, hell. Ooh, hell's bells. Okay, ooh. I didn't do very well there. Let's have him spend his point of determination in order to go out to 20. I missed the button. Here we go. That's better. Right. Okie dokie. That's all he's doing. Whom of you is going next? Tavish just took off for a dive, seemed to get through the lines, so who's next?
Yeah, I will go last, just because, like,
okay.
You know, if someone gets hurt.
So it's going to be Trasa or Flask, so who would you rather?
What's the zones for here?
This area is the next zone. This let me draw out the zones here. So you are currently in a zone. This corridor here is its own zone. Each individual room that you've got are individual zones as well. So to get from this zone to this zone is a fast action, which you can do. Of course, it'll allow you to get within close range melee distance of any of these Orions, should you wish.
Alright. Let's get the party started, shall we?
I think Tavish already sorted that. With her weird party trick. Emphasis on weird. Okay, so skidding to a halt on the anti-grav sled and just leaping off of it dramatically, Trasa jumps in, fists swinging. So, what would you like to do? I mean, double flying clothesline might be good, but that's just me being a wrestling fan.
Oh, she's gonna look at him and like, alright. Who wants to go down first?
This sounds like an intimidation attempt. Is that where we're going with it? Trying to intimidate them to back down?
Oh, if I'm doing that.
So, you know, if you want to do intimidation, that's going to be presence and security. Actually, I forgot to activate Trasa. Let's do that. Okay.
Let's see. I am inspirational. I'm just gonna use determination of never back down.
Who's next? Okay, 4 successes. Good grief. All right. In that case, who's next? Definitely seems to rattle them. So let's see what their resolve is like. It's definitely be their control and security. I'm adding to threat on this because this is gonna be interesting. 3 successes, still not quite enough. Okay, so out of the 4 of them, 2 of them decide that discretion is the better part of living to see another day, and definitely don't seem to look like they want to fight anymore. So, Trasa moved, Trasa did an intimidation check. It's now their turn. Now, the guy who's currently on his butt scoots away from Tavish as fast as he possibly can while on 4s, fumbles out an energy weapon from his holster, and does try and fire it at Tavish. It's going to be hilarious because this guy is shaking in his little booties. Oh, it was almost a 20. It was 1 success. So, to the surprise of no one, this Orion just basically goes, "Get it away from me!" Fires a disruptor and it goes wide. Doesn't do a thing. Whom of you would like to go next? Flask or Sot? One assumes.
I guess I'll go then.
Yep, okay.
I'll just like, I'm staying within the zone. So it's
Okay, cool.
a bit close to behind this wall, you know, a bit of cover. And I'll just, I'll take a pot shot at this guy.
Okay, cool. So, control and security, difficulty 2.
Control, security.
If you want to use momentum, it's there. If you want to use determinations, they're there also. But, nevertheless,
No, let's go with this.
it's a good roll. Actually, 2 successes and on the money hits. Fadoosh! Roll for phaser. Find your phaser damage, that would be groovy.
Sorry. Type 1 phaser.
That's not bad at all. 4 successes, 2 effects.
It's been
Guy
lost to
has
fire phaser.
no armor whatsoever. He just about dodges being hit with it. Doesn't seem terribly happy about it. That's all Sot can do for now, so I am gonna have... Yep, it's that guy's turn. So he
no
kind
hard
of...
feelings.
Sorry, Chris, what was that?
I said no hard feelings, right?
Well, he gets up. He doesn't seem to be all that enthused with the idea of taking on Trasa, so he makes a break for it. Tries bumbling at his disruptor. He is going to try and shoot Sot, but this is difficulty 3 for him because he's going on the move whilst trying to shoot. So let's see how he does. 2. No, so it's a very near miss. So Sot doesn't exactly have to duck, but the wall does kind of explode in a shower of sparks as this guy hoofs it as fast as he can down the corridor. Which leaves Flesk. What would we like Flesk to do? Well, Flesk, not to be seen to be not taking part in the thing, could probably offer some phaser-based support if you want him to.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Any particular Orion you think Flesk would like to shoot? I mean, there's the one that is taking off, or there's one of the ones near Trasa, or the one in the doorway.
Is this guy like actively fleeing, or
He
is
seems
just,
to
like,
be actively fleeing.
fleeing?
He's hoofing it. He's on the run.
Okay. I think we're fine. Believe him there. Then I'll just have to try and pull off a little flank on us later.
He looks like he's been firmly intimidated by the Klingon, and very much at the appearance of other people. Maybe even a little bit from Tavish's antics too. So, Flesk. Is there any target you would like Flesk to go for, particularly? This one seems like he's going to cut and run. This one, at the very least, seemed like he might be the one calling the shots. You're not sure.
Ooh, excuse me. What does everyone else think?
Well, let's take the one that doesn't look like he's about to wet himself and run off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, since he has no control of a character in here, actually, Connie doesn't either. So for the moment, Connie, could you be Commander Flesk, please?
Yeah.
Control and security, difficulty 2, firing his phaser.
Control. Let's go.
Pretty good, yep. So, can you roll damage from the phaser, please? Nice! Very good. 4 and an effect.
Oh.
Got some good rolls today.
Definitely. So, once again, losing points from the stress track means basically that he's stressing out and trying to dodge the incoming shots. When you run out of stress is when you run out of the ability to dodge the incoming fire, so for the moment he's unhurt, but he's very much not keen on popping his head out. Which is actually funny, because it's that guy's turn next. So what does he do? Both Tavish and Trasa, and to an extent Flask, notice that this guy who Flask just shot at, he kind of looks behind himself into the room, and then just turns back worriedly as if what he expected to see in there is not in there anymore, or not how he expected it to be. So he does kind of withdraw out to this door, and let's... The Klingon is probably the most worrying one, so he's going to take a shot.
Oh shit, I forgot to roll my challenge dice to see if I get my determination back. Oops.
May as well do that now. May as well do it now. You don't. But that guy fires off a wide shot and doesn't hit Trasa, which brings us to the guy next to Trasa, who is also looking to book it at high speed, so he's running, doesn't want any part of the Klingon, certainly doesn't want to take any part of the freakish lady whose face was twitching earlier. So this guy is also doing control and security to try and fire a shot off at Trasa. Gets nothing. Round 2. Whom of you would like to go first?
Can I go first?
Unless nobody else objects.
Fine by me.
Cool. We activate Trasa. Into the middle of them.
To attack the one up top.
Okie dokie, so that sounds to me like a daring and security jobby. That's there we are, 2 successes from the Orion, so let's see what Trasa's got going for her.
And let's see, got hand to hand. Also, you know what? Let's just use a determination one more time to knock him out.
See how we do. Not bad, not bad. 4 successes, so 2 over and above what you needed. You can either bank them or send them on to damage, or a combination of both.
Let's see if I get that back real fast. Nope. Okay.
Nope. You are all determinationed out. Nevertheless, 2 extra dice you can add onto your unarmed strike damage. Whoosh.
Yeah, she's gonna definitely knock him down. Or not,
Knockdown, yeah. Oh, you wanted to bank the momentum. Okay. So this guy takes 6 and 2 effects, which is enough to actually knock him down and out. Nice!
and then she's gonna look at the others and be like, "Don't mess with a Klingon." Especially one who has the air of the Chancellor.
Nice.
No more funny business. Whatever you did to cause my engineer to come down here, you will stop it, or I will let the Chancellor know. Or General Kargan. You pick.
Okie dokie. This sounds like a pretty definitive threat. You've already got 2 of them panicking and running, 1 of them just been knocked down. So what I will say is that pretty much draws an end to that combat, because they decided to surrender. This one just is pleading to be taken away from whatever the hell that is, pointing very firmly at Tavish. So he seems eager to be led on, just so he doesn't stick around Tavish anymore. Meanwhile, this guy, he was already looking to run, so he just puts down his weapon and just puts his hands up and surrender. Whilst all this is going on, let's go quickly back to our running mates and see how well they do with finishing this race. As they get a little report from Trasa and or the rest saying that they've captured a couple of Orions in the act. So before we get there, let's once again have... are we going to have Sobek and Zhang assisting, or is Sobek going to attempt creating another advantage again, even though last time we unfortunately had a 20? What would we like to do?
If that's the case, maybe they can just assist, considering that the Orions have been apprehended.
Okay. So, once again, Sobek can probably do presence and command with 1 dice. So, let's have... Mr. P, who were you last time? Were you Zhang or Sobek?
I think I was Sobek.
Well, let's have you as Zhang this time, then. And,
Sure.
that leaves Liz as Sobek. So Sobek is giving us presence and command with inspiration as a focus, 1 dice. Zhang can give us reason and con with a navigation focus, 1 dice. We're having the usual from Gurkow as well.
Beg your pardon, what was that? Sorry, from Zhang?
From Zhang it's going to be reason and con.
Reason and con, 1 dice, yeah?
Yes, please! Look, the captain did something.
Cool.
So did Zhang! Groovy, so now we need Gurkow and Garrow to give their respective roles once more. Let's see if we can finish this race.
Okay, usual stuff, fitness, security.
Usual stuff, yep.
2-1.
Fitness and science?
Yes. If you spend the momentum, which there's a full momentum pool of now.
Nice.
Let's see. Ooh, let's go. Okay, yep, even that was a success. So that's a full house, I think, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Considering you have taken care of the hackers, you think the difficulty has in fact gone down. So the difficulty was on 2 this time, which means you won 3, so you can add an extra 2 to your progress. So let's have Connie, if you could roll me 8 challenge dice, please.
Oh.
As Gurkow and Garrow put on the last... Ooh, look at those effects. Ditch burst of speed, lower resistance by 2, which is your final breakthrough. You find a shortcut that it looks like the door is closed. It's not. So Garrow puts his shoulder into it, so he bursts through at speed, allowing Gurkow to follow him, and they find a shortcut, and you cross the finish line well before the Klingons get there. Nicely done. The 3rd and final breakthrough was the one you needed. And interference stopped, so there's no need for that anymore. So congratulations to Garrow and Gurkow for winning the race. There's a large cheer from the Federation lot. Gurkow and Garrow need to get their... Gurkow and Garrow need to get their breath back, of course, but... a bit sweaty, but otherwise everybody's cheering and slapping them on the back and shaking them by the hand. Beck Shum is a little bit miffed that he didn't win, but Helm Officer Fur is more than happy to congratulate Garrow and Gurkow on a race well run. Meanwhile, back at the corridor. So the Orions have surrendered, and that guy ran away. But that still doesn't explain what was going on. So, as security basically comes to take away these extra Orions here, and even carts off the unconscious one by there, is there anything you guys would like to do whilst you're here, now that the Orions have been kind of dragged away?
Can I check some systems, please?
You what, sorry?
Can I check some systems out?
Let's check systems,
Also, my determination needs to go down by 1.
I think it did.
There you go.
V. So there's evidence on one of these computer stacks that wires have been pulled out and isolinear chips have been moved. It looks like something at some point was connected to the exposed wires, but what that something was, it's not immediately obvious because it's not here.
Is there any way I could use my engineering tricorder to find out exactly what
Sure.
these wires are, connected to?
So can I have a reason and engineering check from Tavish, please? Difficulty 1.
Is it reason and engineering?
Yeah.
Reason and engineering, yes. As far as focuses go, I'll allow computers as a focus. Alright, fine. These are basic power leads leading into leading into the system in general. They're kind of like maintenance wires that feeds power to the various consoles that are lying around in places that can be accessed. But somebody has kind of taken off of the wire covering and pulled back the sheath in order to expose the actual wiring underneath. Now this suggests that someone was more than likely using some form of tool to access the power grid and somehow use the pulses of basically electricity down the wire as a means of trying to communicate with a device at the other end. It's a very it's a bit of a hacker's trick that Tavish has mostly read about. It's one of those ones of trying to plug yourself into a system without actually plugging yourself into a system. It's supposed to be a means of trying to mask your infiltration into a system. As a result, because you are trying to use a power lead, essentially, in order to gain access to a system, rather than an actual you're trying to use a power cable rather than a fiber optic cable, if you will, if you consider the analogy.
Yeah.
Someone would need very specialist equipment to do that, because the amount of interference on the line would be quite high, because it's used for distributing power, not for the pulses of binary or binaric or whatever the Federation uses as communication medium at this point. And evidence of what that device could be is nowhere around, but I would like Sot and Flesk and Tavish. So if I can have, let's say, Mr. Bell, could you be Commander Flesk, please?
Yep.
I would like each of those 3 characters to give me their own insight and security checks, 2 dice each. Any focuses that have to do with being able to basically sense shifts in the general feel of a place. How to read the room, as it were.
No, I got nothing, so I'll...
Yeah, Flask, not so much, so it's just going to be insight and security. Tavish, similarly, just insight and security, so Liz, if you could do that for Dave, please. And as far as Sot goes, Sot maybe... Not sure, actually.
I don't think so.
No, just go with the basic. Ooh, it was a 20. It rolled onto a 2. All right, Tavish. Something's not right, but you're not sure what it is. Flask, similarly, something doesn't seem right. Not sure what it is. Dr. Sot, just kind of leaning in the doorway as Dr. Sot is nonchalantly. He gets the sudden feeling of there's odd movement in the air. You're not kind of sure, but you get the nasty feeling that there's somebody else in the room. It's that kind of unmistakable kind of hackles that you can feel that suggests that there's someone you can't see in the room watching you.
Heck.
I would like to speak to you both, please, Admiral Hebert and Captain Sobek, after this. Okay, yep.
Dr.
By
Salt.
the game, she means
Hello.
the games.
Yeah. I got you.
I do have an idea. Oh, no, this is to Chris. Not Dr. Salt. I do have an idea. Seeing as Dr. Salt's got that feeling, why not use your tricorder to see if there is any life signs in the immediate area?
Cool. I can do that. Scan for life forms.
Scan for life forms.
I've
Forms.
I have been watching way too much Star Trek.
There is no such thing as watching way too much Star Trek. Let me cut that thought out right the hell now, young man. Anyone who tells you differently is just not committed enough.
I watched one of my favorite episodes the other day.
Well, now you can't end there because now we all have to know which one it is.
From Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's from the 3rd season, and the episode's called "The Offspring."
Oh,
The one where Data creates
that's Lao.
Lao.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really, really good.
really, really
Yeah.
good. Hits me in my heart every single time.
Yeah. I was boiling my eyes out at the end. But I'm not gonna lie.
Still just
No,
as
it's
punch.
understandable.
I like the Voyager, especially when Paris ends up marrying I forget her name.
Balana?
Yeah.
It was very. I do confess, I do talk to the television and the screen a lot during these things. It's my habit, and so during moments like that tends to be when I scream at the TV. Well, it's about goddamn time. I am so very bad for that.
You're not the only one, Matt. You're not the only one.
I get it from my mother, and I also get it from my grandmother too. She was very, very vocal to the television. Thank you. In any case, let's get back to what we were doing here, which is Dr. Sot was scanning for life forms. So whilst everyone else sings the scanning for life forms song, I'm going to ask Dr. Sot to give me a control and medicine check, difficulty 1. Life forms, you tiny little life forms, you precious little life forms. Where are you? Difficulty 1. Okay. You get a very weird reading. You read 3 life forms in the room with Flask and Tavish. But then it says only 2 life forms. But then it says 3. But then it says 2. Then it comes up with error. Please run diagnostic. What would you like to do with this information?
Guys, there's people here. Probably tell the team. Can we pin down as to where exactly they are?
It's not difficult because there's kind of a blur that happens, and just as Trasa emerges there, Dr. Sot kind of gets bowled backwards as something knocks into him and pushes past him. Definitely felt like someone shouldered their way past Dr. Sot, and you can actually hear now the sound of footfalls on grating. It started about here, now it's clank, 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 clank. Somebody's running. Somebody you can't see, but there's a definite kind of weird blur, haze effect in the air. What would you like to do?
attempt to run him down and tackle him.
Okay, so this is a bit difficult because you can't quite see, so I'm going to ask for... This is going to be a fitness and security check to tackle somebody, but I'm going to make the difficulty of this 3. Because you're trying to tackle somebody that you can hear but you can't see. So this is Trasa's reflexes just surging in here, and maybe a bit of that Klingon hunting instinct as well. That's ability to set things. That was 1. Okay. You don't have any determination left, so it's a case of Trasa gets to there, reaches out, thinks she grabs something, but her grip then gets thrown off, and she just kind of keeps on going in that direction. But there was definitely somebody there. I will allow 1 further action from everybody else, Sop, Flesk, and Tavish, to try something, anything.
Can I take a pot shot? With stun.
Right. What was it you were going to say? Sorry, Dave?
I was going to suggest about doing trying to disrupt his whatever's making him invisible, disrupting that.
Which
that idea.
might be a good thing to try before Dr. Sot tries shooting in the general area. So, Tavish, what would you like Tavish to try?
Is there any way I can use my engineering tricorder to as I said, disrupt it in some way?
You can certainly try something. It's not obvious at the moment whether this cloaked individual is using technology or if it's some kind of natural ability, which suggests definitely a non-human or non-standard humanoid. So either way, jury-rigging your tricorder to emit some kind of interference field will be probably a daring and engineering check with experimental technology as a focus.
Okay.
This is attempting to create basically an advantage for Dr. Sot or a disadvantage for the individual who's cloaked, so this is going to be difficulty 2. There's a full momentum pool, and you also still have 1 determination if you really, really want to use it. Depends how far you want to go.
Let's not use the last determination yet.
Okay.
We're still quite early, I think. Yeah, we're still quite early into the game, so let's not use that yet. Let's just do a normal roll.
You still have a full momentum pool, though, if you want to add an extra dice.
Is that all right with everybody else?
Yeah, go nuts.
Yeah.
Spend all the momentum. Add 3 dice. Right, Liz,
Okay,
you're in
let's
charge
do
of Tavish.
So 3 dice. Daring and engineering.
Experimental
Focus
tech as a
in...
focus. Well, no 20s, 2 7s and a 13. Nice, nice, nice. So I'll take the momentum away. So, Tavish trying to basically, in her head, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, her list of options here as to how to try and disrupt something, goes for kind of a general basic electromagnetic kind of pulse. It can short out most technology, most active technology at the very least, but might also inflict some form of interference with a life form. And because I said you needed 2 to create this advantage or complication for the enemy, I will say that there's an outline of somebody by there, which means that Dr. Sott can now attempt his own action.
Okay, no, instead of like shooting first and asking questions later, can I try and go diplomatically instead? I've got my, warm welcome and composure.
Definitely try,
on.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll do that instead, please.
That sounds like you're using presence. And if we're going warm welcome, ignore the complication ranges. Presence attribute instead of... anyone assisting the Bowley may use their presence attribute instead of their own. That's warm welcome.
What about doctor's orders?
Doctor's orders. When you're trying to coerce somebody into refraining from a course of action, you can use medicine instead of command. So there we are.
So
Let's see how well you do.
And can I use like composure or psychiatry here as well?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, very good. Look at that. 3. All right, then. In that case, Dr. Sott sees this kind of shimmering figure, and when the electromagnetic pulse burst kind of goes off, the individual kind of outlines, the shimmer becomes less of a shimmer, and it becomes a bit more of a visible outline of a fairly tall humanoid figure. And they definitely stumble as the pulse hits them. So it suggests that whoever this person might be overly affected by the pulse. And so Sott basically says, along the lines of, if you don't want that kind of thing to happen again, which I can see hurts, maybe you should just surrender. Which kind of coincides nicely with Trasa kind of turning around, getting ready for a second charge. At which point the individual that's a shimmering outline eventually comes more into focus. And it's a fairly tall, almost reptilian humanoid with a lot of mottled skin, and it's very much like a chameleon's skin or a cuttlefish, where their skin is basically taking on the appearance of the background as a means of trying to blend in. So it's obviously some kind of natural camouflage that this creature's species has. You don't recognize the species, but you've seen their like around. Not very often, but they have been known to be about when they're here on the station. But he is holding, you assume it's a he, holding some kind of device in his right hand, and he just kind of puts his hands up as he notices Trasa is very close by and just goes, all right, all right, all right. The implement in his hand is very big, it's very boxy, it also has a pair of wires attached to clippers, almost like crocodile teeth clippers. So when Tavish sees this, that looks very much like the kind of hacking device she was expecting to see from whoever it was that hacked into the power system in this room.
I am going to ask the person for his hacking device.
Okay. Looking behind him at the fact that Trasa is just looming there threateningly, he hangs back at first, but then just kind of defeatedly sighs and hands out the device to Tavish.
Thank you.
It's definitely not a device you see on the open market. This definitely seems like somebody's hacker job in their home kind of thing. A certain amount of sophistication had to go into the creation of this device in order to make it a hacking device. So in its own way, it is a fairly complex piece of kit. Considering that you can hold it in two hands means that somebody has been smart enough to miniaturize the tech. So it's no small accomplishment that someone was able to create something like this, but it's certainly not something that's openly available. So it's the
I'm
kind
gonna
of
ask
device
the-
you would see hackers kind of trade blueprints for on like the dark web, if there is such a thing still in this particular point in time. Yes, Dave. Sorry.
Can I ask the individual if there is any booby traps in the device, or there's if he's the only one who can use the device?
He looks as if he's about to try something, but then once again looks over his shoulder and realizes there's a Klingon very, very close by. Kind of visibly weighing his chances, and just shakes his head and says, "Nah. As long as you got the smarts to use it."
Great. Well,
Everyone else is pretty much watching Tavish. She's there just going... she seems to have a very all too interested face now. It's almost like someone's just given her a new toy to play with.
do you want to hear what's going through Tavish's head?
Absolutely, I want to hear what's going through Tavish's head.
She, in a very excited voice, to Nilil, going, "Look, we got a new device. We can play around with a new device."
Ooh, shiny.
Goddamn right, it's shiny.
Oh. Oh, I forgot for the combs.
She just goes, I will show this to the Klingons as evidence of your, trying to tamper with this ritual, this Klingon ritual. I doubt they're going to be best pleased.
The hacker just kind of looks between Tavish and Trasa. Maybe I could bargain for being taken to a Federation prison instead? I might have some information you could use.
Commander? 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 Are you listening to me, Commander?
Commander, please.
Oh.
Seeing as you are the senior officer here, that is up to you. Do we want to put him in a cosy little Federation prison, or do we want to, put him in a Klingon prison? Yeah.
I'll leave that choice up to Flesk.
And since Mark's not here...
It's up to the party!
Hold on. My greatest Mark impression. Klingon encampment. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, it was my worst. You can't get any better. I can't do voices.
You realise that this is being uploaded to YouTube later, and I can totally show Mark this.
But it was done out of love, not out of spite.
Done out of love and respect. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
I feel like Flex would say, Actually, let's talk with the group, because I feel like Flex would actually suggest about bringing him to the Federation, especially if he's got information.
Alright, well, let's chug everybody back to the Klingon training pit area, which was where the majority of such talk. Most of the major figures are still around there, so let's bring folks back to here.
Look, I just realized that Dorn was here.
Yes, Dawn's there. She's up there. Where's she gone? Yep, there she is.
I didn't
Obviously.
pay attention on who was up here.
Obviously with the Klingon brethren. Yep. And you wanted to speak to Admiral Hebert. And of course the captain himself. So yes, Hebert herself is very interested in this hacker. Oop, who did we just lose? Well, that
I
was
gotta stop
Chris.
accidentally selecting everyone.
Who did we lose?
Because everybody is clickable by everybody else. Whenever you come onto a new map, it seems to automatically select everyone that you can control, which means you can control everybody. So, yes.
I know,
Fortunately,
this is like the fifth time I've tried to move everyone.
Everybody, step to the left.
Take it
Simon
back
says,
now,
step to the right.
One hot this time. Sorry, I'll stop.
Liar, you're not sorry. Any more than I am. Okay, so the Admiral Hebert is, of course, very interested in if this hacker individual has got information. It might be very much worth putting in an extradition order, since technically, even though the ownership of Narendra Station is being claimed by the Klingons, it was Starfleet officers who came across the incident in question and apprehended them. So technically Starfleet gets first dibs. So Admiral Hebert, at the very least, is very interested in taking the hacker away. And if I can find her, actually no, she's not here. Narendra Station's now former Starfleet security head will be very interested in putting things to rights. There, you back with us, Chris?
Yeah, it seems my Wi-Fi's been acting up, so I'm on data at the moment. So, I mean, okay, not Star Trek data, but you know.
Yeah, I get what you're. I'm actually physically on Brent Spiner right now. In which case, get off, you dirty bastard.
Well, it is Android.
Moving swiftly on before I take us down a rabbit hole we don't want to go down into. And you a bit of a poor choice of words there as well, considering the insinuations that were going on. But nevertheless, bringing it straight back. So, yes, the race has been concluded. The next contest is about to be declared, but Commander Trasa said she wanted to speak to Captain Sobek and Admiral Hebert before the next game starts. So, what would you like to talk to us about, Commander?
Yeah, I'm also after all the games.
All the games. Very well. We will wait to see what happens next then. Admiral Hebert just nods and goes back to her seating up in the stands. So, Lady Jadark declares that the third trial is next, and that is the trial of intellect. It's not always combat that occurs on the field of battle, and it's certainly not warrior grit alone that determines the success in a battle. Therefore, the third competition is about having to outthink one another. And you are basically asked to choose your cleverest, your smartest, and certainly your those with computer-related focuses will do particularly well here.
Clavish.
Yeah, I was about to say our crazy engineer.
Yeah.
So, essentially, we are moved over to a different place. Those who wish to partake find themselves in basically an area with a good many computer terminals. Apparently, the battle will take place within a computer simulation. The simulation depicts a number of nodes on a grid. Each node is basically a protected let me try that again. Each node is a protected piece of memory within this particular computer program, and therefore, in order to capture a node, you have to be able to hack into the node's memory. You have to overcome whatever security is protecting it, and therefore, as soon as you claim it, it is essentially your node. That then allows you to then do the same to try and access neighboring nodes. It's almost like, I suppose, what our American brethren would call tic-tac-toe. You're trying to basically capture as many, if not all, of the nodes on this particular grid. Not only can, when you capture a node, do you hold it, you can try and capture one of the opposing team's nodes. You can also try and maybe use computer code, any dirty computer code tricks you know, in order to booby trap some of the things that you yourself capture. So it's all about creativity and thought and strategy. So they have chosen their chief engineer and their operations officer to undertake the contest for the Mapui's team. So who are we looking for, you guys?
Just to give you a thingy, it's all I can see is a black screen on Liz's.
Black screen.
Oh, so I'm not
yeah,
the
me too.
Hello.
Yeah, so I'm not the only one blind. Oh.
No,
Nope.
it's
There we
a
go.
pre-configuration
Um,
that I didn't save.
Ooh.
Okay, there we go.
Lovely.
I think, honestly, we probably would match them, because are probably going to be our chief engineer and operations officer, since they're the best for the computers.
Okie dokie. So that's, once again,
So
not necessarily suggesting that those who don't take part aren't able to contribute in some fashion or other, but there was a question?
no, it's all right. It's okay.
Okay. So, the battle lines have been drawn. Lady Dark will tell you when it is time to go. And she basically says, go, now. So, the Klingons start to furiously start typing at the console. This is a big old one, so let's just do a little bit. Okay, so the computer program is fairly complex. Any help that anybody else can give Flask and Tavish is, of course, helpful. You can try different people aiding in different ways, using either their knowledge of security protocols or their knowledge of computer programs, or anything you can think of. So, basically, who wants to help? Okay, no problem, Chris. Who wants to help Flask and Tavish?
I'll give it a try. With my statistical probability,
That's
perhaps.
a good one, yep. So that's one dice. Flask is going to be rolling one dice, and Tavish is probably going to be rolling two. Which leaves one other person that can assist. So are we looking at... Garrow could maybe assist with his knowledge of security systems, although he doesn't have it as a focus. Of course, the captain could, because he has got a certain degree of smarts to him. Zhang's not entirely sure how she'd contribute to this, but she's going to be standing there cheering everybody on. But likewise, Dr. Sot is not is not slow when it comes to his brain power, so there's always that as well. Who would you like to use? So we've got Gurkow assisting, Flask, of course, and we've got Tavish in the lead. Who would we like to add? I mean, anybody who's not taking part could try and maybe influence the Klingon side by maybe just declaring half-truths about the other side's parentage or something. I don't know. Anything you can think of.
Psychological warfare.
Let's see. Well, I have one of the values I have is every problem has a solution.
If you wanted to, you could just have Garrow spend one of his determinations so that somebody else could use it.
Yep.
And then be the 5th
I can
dice.
do that.
So yeah, cool. So knock off 1 determination. That basically means that Tavish will be able to roll with a point of determination gifted to her by Garrow.
Okay, all yours.
Let's have Gurkow give us, using statistical probability. I mean, it makes sense. The system was, the computer system is designed by Starfleet, but the whole challenge is being programmed by Klingons. So there are certain probabilities that you will find certain computer practices have been put in place to give you an advantage.
Certainly.
So that was going to be reason and science. 1 dice from Gurkow. If we could have... Is Chris back, or is he still gone?
He's still gone.
Right, Mr. Bell,
Oh,
the
he's
other
back.
Chris.
Yep. Hang on.
You can be Flesk for now, then, please.
Okie dokie. There he is.
Mr.
Okay.
Flesk will be using reason and science as well.
Reason science.
He
Okay.
doesn't really have any focuses to use, so it's just going to be on talent alone.
Okay, so is it 1 dice or 2?
1 dice for Flesk, please.
1. Here we go.
We also want 1 from Gurkow, please. Okay, nothing so far. Just feeling out the process. That's 1, that's 2. Who else did we have was going to be contributing to this? Oh, the other dice was from Garrow's determination. So, Liz, if you could bring us Tavish. If Liz is there.
So,
Yep,
reason and engineering?
Reason and engineering with focus of computers, but also spending Garrow's point of determination. Very good. So it was all Tavish this turn. 4 successes in total. Now, doesn't Tavish have something where she can ignore resistance on an extended task? I forget.
I do have something to help with.
Extended tasks.
Yeah.
Power management.
I think it's giving. I'm giving it all she's got.
I think it's miracle worker, actually. Whenever you use engineering on an extended task, if you achieve a breakthrough and roll at least an effect, you achieve a second breakthrough. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's advisor. When you assist using command, they may re-roll a d20. Keep forgetting that. Okay. Nonetheless, can I have, since Chris has just gotten back, Mr. P, if you could roll us 7 challenge dice, please. You got 4, which you got. Actually, roll us 9. Because I didn't realise you got a full momentum pool. Haha. Cool. 9! Ooh, that was good. Good grief.
Whoa.
Right. So these computer programs are actually quite tough. These nodes are quite tough to break into, but then Tavish just kind of interlaces her fingers, cracks her knuckles, and then just goes, right then, and dives straight into it. And with that many successes, resistance puts it down to 7. But that means you do achieve a breakthrough, but because of Tavish's thing, that means you achieve another breakthrough. Good grief, that was quick.
I like to think that it's Nilo also helping Tavish with this.
Yes, absolutely. So a couple of computational assistance is going on with Nylil, and from what seemed like a shaky start, Tavish just kind of cracks her neck in 2 directions and then really lays into the code, and everybody's pretty impressed with how she suddenly seizes control of multiple nodes at once. It's like, damn. At which point, looking over the desk at the other side, the Klingons both seem to give each other a what the hell kind of stare, and they suddenly realise they have to up their ante a bit. Round 2. Let's do this again. So, who else wants to?
Tavish with a smile on the face, smiles at the Klingons and just goes, "Resistance is futile."
Flesk, at this point, I think, looks over at Tavish and goes, "You know, I worry about you most times. This is one of those times."
It's fine. I'm just having a bit of a joke.
Sure, because I can't
Just
tell.
a prank, bro.
Right, so, once again, obviously Tavish and Flesk are the ones at the fore of this, but anybody who wants to, in some fashion, can help in any means that they believe they can. So, go for it. Who's helping this one? 2
Could
helpers.
I inspire?
Sure.
Oh,
Sure. Trasa going presence and command to inspire. We've got place for 1 more assist, so Garrow, Gurkau, Zhang, Sot, or Sobek can try and assist in some fashion or other, depending on how creative you want to be.
I guess if no one has any creative ideas, I could still go back with my COD focus.
Yep. Makes sense. It worked before, it can work again. Okay, cool.
I don't know.
Go
I
on.
can spend another determination and give
I think
give
we've
another
got...
dice.
Because Trasa is trying to inspire, we've now got our maximum of 5 dice. So, I mean, Garrow can still cheer from the sidelines,
Okay.
by all means. You know, maybe Garrow and Dr. Sot can come up with a whole cheerleading routine or something. But that's up to them. Just to distract the Klingons, you know.
With Zhang, you know, just have a little cheer section.
Whereas Captain Sobek is just looking on with a Vulcan eyebrow raised. Alright, so same roll from Gurkau as before, with a what did I say it was? Presence and command 1 dice from Trasa. And can I have Mr. Powell be Flesk, please?
Certainly.
Same roll that was already configured for it.
So, presence and command, you say, sorry?
Flesk, it's going to be present. It's going to be reason and engineering.
Beg your pardon. Any focuses?
Not really, no.
No. And 1 or 2 dice for me, I'm assisting.
1 dice from Flesk. Which at least means parent figure comes in. Oh, it was a 20, but then it was a 2. Oh,
I like to live dangerously.
indeed. But 2 very good rolls so far from those who are assisting, including Gurkau, who gave an awesome roll. So that's woof. So now it's down to Tavish, the rock and roll computer star that she is. Let's do this thing. So Tavish, same thing as before. Without rolling on a determination this time, just pure talent and focus.
We can have Chris Bell roll for Tavish.
Mr. Bell can be Tavish. Okay, fine. So, Chris, if you could roll reason and engineering for Tavish, rolling 2 dice with a focus.
You know what?
Okay.
Let's use my last determination.
We
Mad engineer.
I'm going to hold off for a bit then.
go for it then.
I've got 1 last determination.
Okay.
So that's 3 then on mine then.
Yeah.
No.
I suppose. No. Just tick the determination box. Still
Okay,
2 dice. But tick the
determination.
determination box,
Okay. So determination, focus, 2 dice.
please. Well, Al Gore, blimey.
Nice.
6.
The Al Gore blimey.
8. Yes. Praise be the Herald of Gaia that he was. Or something. Right, so once again, you've got a full momentum pool, which means all those gosh dang successes, all 8 of them, 10 of difficulty 2 means you've got 5. Jeez, willikers. Can I get...
Who do a breakthrough?
How many extra dice is that? Good lord. Connie! Roll me 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 challenge dice.
Oh,
The
I'm having a lot of
Klingons
fun
really...
typing this.
Sorry, go on.
No, just having a lot of fun typing the number 11.
The Klingons are just sweating profusely at this point as they just see all their nodes are being taken over one by one. Right, good grief. 11 minus 3 is still 8. Which means that you have a breakthrough, but because you got effects, you have another breakthrough, which means essentially you capture all the nodes. Within a very short space of time, the Klingons are just there exasperatedly throwing their hands up in the air going, why did we even bother?
I warned you, she's a mad engineer.
You really did. So, Engineer Keth is just there, just brushing the sweat off of his forehead. And Operations Officer Tronum is just there straightening his tunic as he's trying to maintain dignity of at least having taken part in this very, very one-sided contest.
Tavish just goes, Kapla!
Operations
She
Officer...
has no idea.
Go on.
She has no idea what it means or anything like that. She just said it.
Appla is the usual Klingon announcement of victory. But then you know this, because I know this.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, I think.
Nevertheless, Operations Officer Tronum straightens his uniform and just offers his hand out to both Flask and Tavish. Goes around everybody else as well, congratulating them on a battle well fought. Whereas poor Engineer Keth is just there with his eye twitching, as he's just there going, how? I didn't even see her type commands!
Trasa is gonna pat him on the back. You'll get used to it.
Tavish will come over and just go, so you see here and here and here and here and here and here. Well, I got all of this and did this and then did this, then that, then that, then that, then that, then that.
Funnily enough, there's actually a talent in here somewhere that I think applies at this point. Let me find it. Where is it? It's baffling briefing is one of them, where you use science in place of command to basically bluff someone with using your technical knowledge to mislead an opponent. But there's also... oh, what is it? There's definitely one talent where you basically throw nothing but nonsense at them in very, very, very quickly. Which is what just happened here. I'm pretty sure I just noted it. Yeah, baffling briefing was probably it. It was like blinding them with technobabble, basically. And Engineer Keth is just there nodding in a way that suggests he might be getting some of what Tavish is throwing at him. But then he just kind of jerks a bit, puts his hand to his nose, and he realizes he's got a nosebleed going on. And just then gets up and excuses himself. Well, crikey, that didn't last long. Okay.
What is that, 3 to 1?
There's
Or 3-0.
definitely 3-0.
I need to take a lie down.
I think poor engineer Keth needs medical attention. If not, maybe psychiatric counselling after that sound thrashing.
Dr. Sot, you're up. Go help the poor engineer from the Klingons.
They're there. Crikey. Well, okay. It's as everybody is moving from that area to back to the Klingon training pits that Lady Jadark actually does take the Klingons aside and goes, and that is one of the many reasons why we should rightfully be very wary of underestimating the Federation and Starfleet. So, we come back to the main Klingon battle auditorium, with all of the people still very much in the stands. Now, taking a look over off to the Orions, you can see that they are... most of them are pretty much crowding around Raina, the Orion space jockey. Especially the rather big, burly-looking males of the Orions, who all seem to be basically giving Raina a verbal thrashing. And he's trying to hold people off as he's then begrudgingly handing money, which he obviously had up until this point back to some people he evidently owed. Whilst gesticulating wildly in the direction of you guys. And you could definitely hear him shout, "Well, how was I supposed to know?" over the din. Nevertheless, a certain amount of preparation goes into the fighting arena as the flagpoles have been taken away, but instead we've got a number of stone plinths arranged. And on the first stone plinth is a very, very heavy circular stone. Lady Dark introduces the fourth and final trial, that of the Trial of Endurance. It's basically the rock at the end of the start of each plinth for each team is handed from one to the next, and the person behind them picks it up from there and puts it on the plinth behind them, and around and around and around it goes until you get to the end, whereupon the one at the end has to run back with it, put it back at the end, the order shuffles a bit, and it keeps on going. There's no points. You have to outlast the other team. Whoever loses all of their members to this physical trial is the loser. Whoever's left, even if there's only one member of your team left, as long as the other team have no other people left, you win. This is a test of endurance, but it's also a test of will. To see how long you can just keep going. Now, obviously, Klingons have a very distinct advantage here, being a very physically well-built species. But you've got our Klingon, you also have our Vulcan. But this is basically anybody with a pretty good fitness and or security check, but anybody who has got a good amount of will and determination behind them too. Basically, those determination points that you may or may not have saved up might be a very good one to use at this point. So, this is still going to be used as an extended task. And it's still going to be the same as before, the maximum of 5 dice, so you have one who leads, and the others who assist in some fashion, but the assistance is fairly specific. Now we have some leeway, what with the way that Gurkau did the reading to assist with her being able to run vast distances. Garrow, of course, has got a very good fitness and determination scores, so he's definitely an asset there. Captain Sobek, not so much with his fitness and security, but definitely for the fact that he's got a full determination pool. Same goes for Sot. He's got all that determination that can be used to maybe help with any low rolls. So let's do this.
I do have a question.
Of course.
Could we, since me and me and Captain Sobek have inspiration, could we inspire people to push through the pain?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Like I've noted before, just because your characters are potentially on the sidelines doesn't mean that they cannot contribute in some fashion and therefore aid.
I'm just trying to get presence and command.
Yeah, absolutely, that'll work. So that's 1 dice for... I mean, that's actually brings up a good point. Who would we want to lead this? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be one of the most physical characters that has to roll the 2 dice to lead this. It could be one of the characters doing inspiration. So, as an example, Sobek has got Presence 12 and Command 5, which are pretty hefty scores. So he could lead this effort using just his inspirational motivational speeches. Or we could opt for maybe Garrow using his physical. Or we could opt for Gurkau using the science of, lift through the knees and exhale when you pick up and rotate, something like that, Or it could be Commander Trasa with her inspirational speech. Who do you think should lead this? And therefore, that then follows who's assisting by rolling 1 dice.
I like the look of Sobek's 12 presence.
I know he beats Trasa by 1.
So yeah, he's captain for a reason. He's a people motivator. So if you want, yes, he makes a very good candidate for leading by inspiration. If there's no other volunteers for being the lead, then I will suggest that yes, we can go with that. We'll go with Captain Sobek being the lead, which means we have Sobek leading with inspiration. We've got Trasa cheering on from the sidelines using inspiration, so we've got 2 more that can assist in some fashion. So
I can use my inspiration, I'll be in the back.
yep, okay, that's fine. So, I mean, do we want Gurkau to assist with science? Do we want Garrow to assist with sheer physicality? Do we want Flesk to assist so that he can use parent figure in order to cancel out a 20?
I think Gurkau's definitely going to assist with a bit of science.
Okie doke. How would we like to be the... Who wants to be the last assistant? Okay, so let's suggest, just to see how well we do, maybe Garrow.
Okay.
So, from Gurkau, we want a momentum spend and this is going to be fitness and science. 1 dice.
If I'm using the reading, there's the applicable focus as well.
Yes. So with a focus. Cool. So that's 1 dice. From Garrow, we want fitness and security, 1 dice. No focus, no determination.
Okay, fitness, security, 1 dice.
Yes, please. Okay, there's 1 success from Gurkau. Ooh, a very good success from Garrow.
That kind of lingered on...
Yes, it did. Squeaky bum moment for just a second or 2 there. So Trasa gives a very inspirational speech, which means it's now time for Captain Sobek. So let's have Mr. P If you could. Captain Sobek, please, with presence and command with a focus of inspiration, 2 dice. Nice! So, 2, 3, 4, 5. Difficulty was 2, which means you get 3 successes over and above what you needed, so 1 point of momentum goes back in, and you can use the next 2 to put some additional dice on this. So, Mr. Powell, you just rolled a Sobek, so can you please give us 9 challenge dice, please? Couple of gaps there. If you want, you can spend a point of momentum to re-roll the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dice that were blank.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, seems like...
Yeah, I mean, we got a momentum back,
Yes.
so might as well use that.
Alright, cool in the gang. That's better. Okay, so we've now got 7 successes, 6 effects, minus the resistance of 2, representing the sheer physical labor that this is taking place, that is taking place here. So that's down to 5, which is enough to score a breakthrough. Cool. Okay, so far so good. You are all working very well as a team. Everybody is staying on the line. Basically passing this whacking great big heavy stone between you all. So far so good. The Klingons, as you might imagine, are doing fairly well themselves. Alright then. Round 2. Let's see how well you manage here. Alright. Do I want to do the same again, or do we want to switch this up? Try something different.
I'm happy to do the same again.
Yeah. Yep.
Alright, we have 2 yays, no nays.
I was just trying to think on how we could possibly get Tavish in here, and being able to use engineering. So he can do miracle worker, but I can't come up with anything.
It would be a bit of a stretch. Although, Tavish could
You
try
can-
something. Go on, Dave.
Tavish just on the sideline being a cheerleader.
With Zang.
With Shang, yeah. Give us a C, give us an O, give us an M, give us a B, give us an S. What does that spell? Combs.
Combs. I could just see Leah and Shang just not wanting to do it, and
She's
just nudging it.
got that expression on her face of, I can't believe she talked me into this.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, some of your crew members on the sidelines are actually taking up the chant. So there is some collaboration going on. So if you're going to go for the same again, then let's play those hits again, Sam. Gurkha with a momentum spend can do fitness and science. Garrow can do another fitness and security. Trasa with another inspirational quote. Like, you
Going
know,
for it.
do it or I'll kill you kind of thing. I don't know. Ooh,
Ew.
Garrow.
That was not good.
That wasn't good at all. Garrow almost slips. Deary me. Let's see then. So, yeah, Mr. P, if you could be the captain once again. It's basically Truss just says, Garrow, careful, do better. So, yes. Garrow nearly lets the team down there a little bit. The captain, yes, is starting to get a bit tired himself. All that time in the command chair doesn't exactly help with endurance training. So we got 1, we got 2, 3, we got 4 successes overall. Difficulty 2 means you got 2 over and above what was necessary. The momentum pool went down by a good bit there. What happened?
So the reading, every time you use it in a single scene, the momentum cost increases by 1.
Ooh, right. So you're going to need to bag some serious momentum. Well, you got 2 over what you needed, so that can either go back into the momentum pool, or it can go into buying you extra dice for how well you did, or a combination of the 2. So what would you like to do with those 2 momentum?
Do you guys think we should just do a combo of the 2?
One in the bank, and 1 for extra dice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, put 1 momentum back, and instead of 7 challenge dice, it's going to be 8. So, Connie, since that was your idea, roll those 8 challenge dice. Oh dear. Right, so the Klingons are huffing and puffing. Okay, so out of 8 dice, you got blanks on only 3 of them. The rest all got progress. So 7 successes nonetheless. -2 is 5, which is a breakthrough. So a couple of members of the Klingon team look like they are flagging at this point. So some of yours as well are starting to flag a little bit, like Garrow nearly pulled something there, so he's starting to favour one side of himself, since he nearly dropped it and so had to do a squat in order to lift the heavy stone back up. But you're still staying in it. The less endurant members like Dr. Sott and maybe even the captain are looking like they're huffing and puffing a little bit, on the verge of leaving the line. But as long as one of you remains, you can still emerge victorious. So to represent the Klingons putting in more effort again, I am going to spend threat to up the resistance of this next test by an extra 1. So, round 3. Same again, or try something different? What do you think?
Maybe more than conserve, is there a way we can sort of recover some energy while at the same time?
Well, what would be good would be getting more momentum back if you're afraid of using too much of it. So maybe Gurkow not use her did the reading thing, so you don't take 3 momentum this time out of the pool.
Yeah.
So maybe Gurkow taking a side seat for this current round, allowing somebody else to get involved. Maybe Dr. Sott. Or maybe Tavish trying to freak out the Klingons. I don't know. I mean, it worked on the Orions.
Yeah.
Or maybe Tavish could maybe just try going over to the Klingon side and, gloats over how well she did with the battle of intellect. You can contribute by trying to waylay the Klingons as well as trying to increase your own team's chances. So,
I mean, Dr. Sott could always try to use something with medicine on talking us through how to
lift with the knees,
not hurt herself.
Yeah, keep your back straight. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go with fitness and medicine from Dr. Sott for that.
Certainly. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I've been muted for a while. I was saying, we better pop out some of Dr. Mabenga's super juice.
Well, if you remember, we haven't quite finished Gurkow's super juice, and that would kind of be seen as cheating, maybe. So it depends on how sneaky you want to be with seeing how quickly you can get a hyper spray out. And...
I'm a man of honor.
Okay.
Okay, 2 dice, yeah.
For Dr. Sott, I think this is going to... Well, unless you want Dr. Sott to be leading the charge in this.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, I don't want that responsibility.
Okay. Alright, so there's Dr. Sott's, lift from the knees, keep your back straight, twist with your hips. Keep your knees soft, don't lock them. Okay, cool, so that's 1. Who do you want leading this? Do you want to stick to Captain Sobek again, or do you want to try somebody else leading it this time?
Maybe we should stick with Sobek.
Okay. So that's Sobek and Sot so far. We got 2 helpers remaining. Gurkow's out of the running for the moment, unless Gurkow wants to aid with just fitness and security. But we were having Tavish doing something, were we? Or were we not?
I don't mind Tavish doing something.
Okay. So Tavish was just going to basically gloat, so that was going to be presence and... Let's go presence and engineering if you want to rub their faces in. What was going on previously.
We can use Miracle Worker.
Yes. Yes, technically. If you want to get pedantic over it, yes, absolutely, it does apply. He's trying to baffle the other team with engineering know-how. So, yeah, presence and engineering 1 dice from Tavish. So, Liz, if you would. Okay. Yep. Groovy. So we've had Sot, we've had Tavish, we're gonna have Sobek. We've got room for 1 more helper. Could be Gurkow, could be Garrow, could be Flesk. Could be another inspirational speech from Trasa. What do we fancy trying? No ideas? How about we get Flesk involved on the off chance that we don't want to push our luck and there might be a 20 in our near future?
Yeah.
Let's have Flesk give us... His fitness and security aren't great.
Could we do sort of from the inspiration side, but for him it's more persuasion? Like
Persuasion? Yeah,
do
okay.
this.
Let's go presence and security on this one for Flesk. And let's have... Mr. Bell, could you be Flesk for us, please?
I will. Right.
Presence and
Presence.
security. 1 dice with focus.
1 dice with focus.
Persuasion. Come on, guys, we really need to win this. And he does manage it too. Cool. Very good, very good. So with Tavish basically blinding the other group with the blinding science, Sot trying to make sure everybody lifts properly so they don't strain something, Flesk trying to keep everybody motivated. Let's go to Captain Sobek. So, Connie, since you didn't have anything to roll, let's have you be Sobek, please. Very nice, very nice, very nice. 2 successes. So, that was 5 successes. You needed 2. You got 3 over and above, which means you can get a full momentum pool again. Let me take that down, actually. So you got 3 over and above what you needed. So once again, you can either put them back in the momentum pool or add them all into the challenge dice to roll, or a combination of the above. Which would you prefer?
I think we should bank 1. Or... I don't know, actually. I think we should do a combo, but I'm not sure whether to bank 1 or 2.
What do other people think? Bank 1 or bank 2?
I think just banking the 1.
Liz, what do you think?
I mean, if we bank 2, we'll roll 8 challenge dice. If we bank 1, we roll 9 challenge dice. All we need is at least 5 successes and 1 effect, and we get 2 breakthroughs.
Okay, I hear no objections to that, so I will throw 1 into the pool, and we will assume that whoever's next is rolling 9 challenge dice. So since you brought it up, Liz, you may as well roll it. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh, look at that! And I did up the resistance, so it takes 3, which still leaves us with 8. Good lord, which achieves our breakthrough, but because you got 4 effects, that achieves another breakthrough, which means... Okay. So, it's a near thing. It's very much a near thing. Eventually, though, the less physically fit members of the group, no matter their willpower, as far as the combs go, do start to drop out because it's just not worth physically injuring yourself for the purposes of trying to stay in this. So the less physically fit kind of stand off to one side of your group and continue to try and cheer on those who remain, which would more than likely be, at the very least, Garrow and Trasa being the most fit. For pure Tellarite stubbornness, I would say Gurkha would stick in as long as she possibly can, probably beyond the point of safety. But nevertheless, your crew are still in the runnings, even as the Klingons are basically whittled down to just Captain Akul and his first officer. And eventually, Captain Akul's first officer, which would be a Crox, I do believe? A Crax, pardon me. Wrong vowel. A Crax, he lifts, but he overbalances on one side, drops the thing, and it lands on his foot, and he picks it up and tries to keep going, but there's a definitive limp. So when he hands the rock over to Akul's plinth, Akul just says, "Get out of here! You've done enough! This is all down to me now." And so Akul is there, and he is a machine. He just picks it up, walks all the way down to the end plinth, comes back all the way to the end plinth, puts it down, picks it up, walks all the way down to the end plinth, walks all the way back up, puts it down. And as he does so each time, he's looking at you guys. And he's always got, no matter the fact that he's puffing and panting and sweating, he's got a slight smile on his face as he sees you guys still pushing through. The Klingons are going nuts, chanting for Akul. The Orions don't know what to do with themselves. The Federation and Starfleet guys are all cheering the remaining guys on your team on. And it just goes on, and you guys are getting weary and sore, but you're unwilling to give in. And then eventually, Captain Akul, he grabs hold of the big boulder, he lifts it, and in an exaggerated fashion just goes, "Oh me, my arms have gone weak. Oh whoops," and just lets go of the rock. "It appears I have been defeated. My strength was not enough. My will did not sustain me. Oh, I have to concede." This, of course, brings uproar to the Klingons, but the entire time that Captain Akul says this, he has got a very big smile on his face, directed towards you guys. And eventually, Lady Jadark declares that the contest is over and that the Combs crew were the ones who survived to the end of the Battle of Endurance. And so, a loud kind of gong sounds to signal the end of the contest, and Lady Jadark, whilst everyone quietens down, takes center stage. It says, "Even though the victors were clear in several of these contests, that was not the point of the Klingon Kiach. The point was that we say farewell to alliances and turn them into acknowledged, honored adversaries. So in the end, we can rest assured that we all triumphed in the fact that we have established long-standing friendships and alliances with those we must now sadly say farewell to. But the future of this conflict is not known for certain, and therefore the future victors in this conflict to come is also uncertain. In that, we call an end to the Klingon Gyach, and we say farewell to our former compatriots in the one means that the Klingons are known for best of all. Lady to Dark puts a signal and a massive barrel of blood wine with a large amount of iron tankards around the periphery of it, enough for everybody, is transported in. Lady to Dark takes one tankard, fills it with blood wine, offers it to Captain Akul. Takes another tankard with blood wine, hands it over to Captain Sobek. Takes one for herself, and then signals to everybody, Kapla! And everybody takes a drink. At which point,
Kapla.
the festivities start, and everybody is encouraged to grab their tankard and start drinking. Over the course of this celebration, of course, shots! More like a pint each time. So the Mapui crew, especially Captain Akul, are all very happy to have had this chance to acknowledge their friendship, their alliance with the crew of the Combs, and so they start to intermingle with yourselves and start swapping stories of antics, both serious and jovial. General Kargan, of course, comes down to celebrate, but stays very much on the side of the Klingons. Admiral Hebert, of course, comes down as well to join in the festivities, and sticks more or less to you guys, the Combs crew, whilst casting the occasional glance at her Klingon counterpart. But Kargan, for the most part, is doing his best, as it seems, to ignore Admiral Hebert. But Kargan is very pointedly looking in Trasa's direction every now and then, as is April Hebert. So, I believe this was a point where a certain somebody wanted a word with both Kargan and Admiral Hebert. Or Captain Sobek and Admiral Hebert, pardon me. So, now would be the time. So I suppose Admiral Hebert starts things off. Well, Commander, I must say congratulations for representing Starfleet and the Federation in those contests. You did very, very well. As did your shipmates. But I'm sure I don't need to tell you that there are now questions being asked about you. And we would all very much like to know the answer to that unspoken question. I can guarantee you right now the Klingons are going to be asking you a very pointed question very soon. Whether or not you choose to answer my question first or General Kargan's question first remains entirely up to you. I know what answer I'm hoping to get, but I can't deny you your opportunity to choose.
Bye-bye.
So I guess I'm asking, what do you choose?
Well, this was a tough decision. But ultimately, I had to think, how would other captains feel after the incident that happened at the last space station?
You're talking
How
about
many
what
of them would
happened
prop-
with the shapeshifter and being accused of being a spy, yes?
Yes. Plus, my relations with my family in the Empire.
Of course. I really don't envy you this decision, Trasa.
What's that?
But General Kargan is itching to come over here and ask you something, so... Or maybe even
Yes.
offer you something.
He's already offered me to join the Klingons and retain my rank in their force.
So what's it gonna be?
Because of that incident, I doubt I would be able to become a captain anytime soon, nor would a crew be willing to follow me. Except for maybe this crew, but they already have a fine captain.
Sobek simply nods. So it seems you're choosing Starfleet. There's no small amount of hope in Hebert's voice at this. Is that your decision, or is that just an assumption on my part? Or wishful thinking?
I guess the biggest thing that's gonna help me with this decision is would that incident have a effect on my progressing my career?
Not with Starfleet. Not if I have anything to say about it. There might be concerns from people, of course, but that's for us to deal with at another time if you choose Starfleet. It's at this point, then, that General Kargan does stride over. Commander Trasa, may I have a word in private, please? Hebert just kind of gives Trasa a familiar pat on the shoulder and just... You'll do what's right in your heart, I know this. Don't feel beholden to me or anybody else. You make the decision that you feel is right. And then she just continues on to talk with Captain Sobek and the rest of the Combs lot. Kargan, meanwhile, is anxiously pacing back and forth.
Oh, yeah, maybe over here, away from the other Federation on the...
Okay. So then, have you given any consideration to our offer?
Yes, though it is not an easy choice.
Not an easy choice? You would be serving the Empire. You'd be using your knowledge of Starfleet protocols and operational influences in order to help us, help the Empire, help your own house. Is glory and honor for your house and the Empire not enough to spur you into making the right decision here?
If it was that so simple, my crew, the Combs, even you have to admit they show loyalty and determination.
Loyalty and determination are admirable, certainly, but so is sense. If they had an ounce of the sense of the Federation and their Starfleet arms suggest they have, they would see that the situation with the Dominion and the Cardassians is simple. plain even. But they refuse to acknowledge it. They say there's not enough proof, and I say, like Gowron says, like many Klingons say, that the mere fact that civilians overthrew a military government is preposterous without outside assistance. They have chosen their side of this battle, Trasa. You can too, and you can ensure that whatever side you're on sees you rise to glory and honor undreamed of before. Come on, Trasa. Be the Klingon that we know you can be. This indecision grows tiresome. Where are you going to follow, Trasa? You going to follow these blind Federation fools in their folly? Or are you going to come home at last and realize what you have always been, a warrior? Choose, Trasa. Choose now. Otherwise this offer may expire, and so might the accolades with it.
There is one thing I would want to do before I...
Do it. Sooner the better. I cannot keep the Chancellor withheld for long.
By the time the third barrel of blood wine is gone, you'll have the answer.
Then drink swiftly. We will only wait for you for so long. And, sure enough, Pagan strides off. Doesn't seem particularly happy. Nevertheless, the rest of y'all... Oh, actually, Trasa's gone next to her aunt. So, yes, Lady Dark just kind of dips her flagon in and pulls it out, just idly, even not openly acknowledging Trasa being right next to her, but she does speak to her as soon as she's there. Well, the General seemed very animated.
Yes, he's growing impatient.
So Trasa's chugging. Glaggle, glaggle, glaggle.
He's mad about my needing to take time.
It's almost like there's an ulterior motive going on. Like perhaps getting a leg up on the competition?
Like I would ever be able to have that much of a leg up. The second I join the Empire, they'll probably change most of the codes and Starfleet protocols. Or at least mixing them up ever so slightly, so I won't be able to be helpful all that much.
Indeed. You would think that somebody as purportedly smart as Chancellor Gowron and General Kargan would be aware of such. Which makes me wonder why they asked you to do that in the first place.
The only thing that's making me think about this is actually being able to be with my family in the Empire.
House Krell is a moderate-sized house. We have our own fleet, our own ships, and we will follow wherever the great houses ask us to go. They have offered you retention of your rank. You may very well see First Officership aboard one of our own ships. But you will
one day
probably be asked.
Probably. I would like to see our house one day be a great house.
Perhaps you should speak with your friends, your crew, before you make your decision.
There is one thing I wish to ask.
Then ask it.
I would like to see if any of them would want to participate. Of course, and if I can get this stupid ritual up. So I can show, because I can't.
Are you looking for a link to something?
No, it's one of the Klingon traits. It's you have lit the candle, spoke the words of honor, and given your house sash to another.
Oh, yes. That's right. I remember.
I can't pronounce the name.
It's in the book itself. Where do I find it?
It's also under the Klingon traits.
The Klingon core rulebook. Right, let's bring everybody back up so folks who are watching the stream just don't see a black screen. Right, where was that? Traits. Where was that?
Yeah, let me just see if I can.
Conflict, weapons, reporting for battle. Traits.
There. It would be that.
Roostai. So, you gain 1 additional value, which must reflect your relationship with your ritual sibling. So, it is the Roostai. Whenever you assist your ritual sibling or assisted by them, the character assisting may re-roll their die. Rule in the gang. Did I actually put that in there? Not sure I did. Right then, well, in that case, Roostai it is. Or Roostai, I should probably say, if I'm pronouncing my Klingon correctly. So, what would you like to do now, then?
Basically offer the crew who wish to partake in the ritual.
Alright then, so, for those of you who are there, Trasa is basically offering you the house sash from House Krell. So, Lady Jadark, being one of the higher-ranking members of the house, would have say in whether or not this is actually allowed, but she's not stopping you. So
That's why I was asking.
Yeah,
if you want, if you give
safe
the
assumption that if she was going to object, she would have. Your auntie is far too direct a person to not give you exactly what she thinks the moment she sees it. So, yes, basically the crew are being given the chance to be almost like fostered into House Krell, in a manner of speaking. So, is anybody of the other lot taking her up on this offer? Is Gurkau, is Garrow, is Flesk, which we can't really do without. I think Flesk would,
Most
because he's a
certainly.
denobular, so... What was that, sorry, Connie?
Most certainly.
Most certainly, so, Gurkau is right up there, right at the very start.
I mean,
Yep, I'm in.
Sot has got his cultural studies, right?
Yes, so he realizes the importance of the gesture. So, Sot's up for it, Flesk is up for it, Garrow's up for it, Gurkau's up for it. The captain is certainly willing to put himself forward. Also, what about Tavish? Is Tavish getting in on the action?
Do they want a
Crazy engineer?
Yeah, you know what? Go on. Yeah, Tavish will get involved.
Cool. Do we think Lieutenant Commander Lian Zhang would? I think she would. I see no reason why she wouldn't.
Yeah, seen as everybody else is.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a couple of spoken words, obviously, but as this more senior member of the House, Lady Jadar, kind of hovers around in the background. But, yeah, Trasa is basically... gets a couple of... asks for some assistance, so a Klingon does come back with the requisite type of candles, and a few words in Klingon are spoken, basically saying that you are not family by blood, but you have been recognized as family by deeds. So you are welcomed into House Krell. And you are all given either a sash with the house insignia on it, or just a, depending on how you want to take it, you can take just the house insignia badge itself and have it on your person somewhere. So, aesthetically, whoever's, well, all of you are pretty much accepting this great privilege, and so can elect to either wear the full sash or can just have the iconography on your person. So, yeah, how do your characters feel about being basically inducted into Trasa's family?
Yeah.
Always be bonded wherever she goes.
It's not exact. Well, you're kind of like ritual sisters now, so. It's just occurred to me, we've maybe turned into Fast and Furious. We are now family. Which, considering the antics you guys get up to, is not that far from actuality, as I think now that I think about it.
Now all we need is a rivalry akin to Vin Diesel and The Rock.
Well, steady now.
Maybe not on that kind of level.
I don't know. I think Trasa and Joe Cargan will fit that bill.
One doesn't like how the other one works, as with a work ethic. Yeah, okay. There might be something there. So, yeah, cool. I mean, how does Garrow feel about being made a member of a Klingon family? Or
An enormous honour. Thank you.
What about Dr. Sot?
Yep.
And Tavish, how does Tavish feel about this? Oh, sorry, Chris, you were going to say.
I just said Kapla.
Kapla.
Just getting into the spirit of things.
Flask, as we know, is very much up there with making friends, and he's a Denobulan, so he's got a very big family already. He already considers the Combs crew family. Mark has said as much in the past. So this, for him, is almost like an even bigger family now. So this makes sense from Flask's personal point of view. I am fairly confident in saying so. How does Tavish feel about this?
She's very honoured, and she asks when she can babysit her niece.
Thanks for the honour. Right, I've got a kid who needs minding, so who's first up?
That is a joke. If nobody actually gets that, that is actually Tavish making a joke.
Yes, so
people recognise
there is
it.
that brief moment of silence of, is she for real now? At which point, it was a joke, guys.
Hopkins would probably have started laughing immediately.
Nice big hearty Trasa laugh. And,
Does that mean I have to? Tavish asks Hopkins if she now has to go as Lily Tavish Hopkins. Does she need a dual barrel surname?
It's more like you would be recognised as Lily Tavish, daughter of, and I forget Lily's mother's name. It's in my notes somewhere. Daughter of, and member of House Krell. So, I would actually.
Nice.
Where did I put that? Was it in last? was it on the one before that? When did we get your implant installed? It was the episode at the start of the episode where Trasa became a Klingon. So oh, I had it and I've lost it. I'll check my notes some other time. But that's basically how Tavish would be known. When if and when she meets other members of House Krell, she would be known as, Lieutenant Lily Tavish, daughter of. And if you met other Klingons from other Klingon houses, you would then introduce yourself as Lieutenant Lily Tavish, daughter of House Krell. Although the house insignia should speak for itself as long as you wear it. So with that in mind, I now have to ask Liz, who has been dodging and yet not dodging a definitive answer. I really do have to ask the question now, Liz. Where is Trasa going? Is she going to her Klingon brethren, or is she staying with her Combs family? It's not an easy decision, I know, but this is the decision that now we've come to it.
Stop doing the countdown music.
No doubt this is a tough decision, and I've been pretty much making it a tough decision from the start, but we really do need to know now, I'm afraid. I'm sensing almost decision paralysis here.
Do an absolute Hail Mary, join the Romulans.
No one would have seen that coming.
Tavish is joining the Ferengi.
You know what? I can actually relate more to the Ferengi's outlook. I'm going as well. Bye. Wow, we're splitting the family up just after we joined them.
Actually, no. I think Tavish will go to the Borg. They need a new queen.
Oh gosh.
Well, if it worked in season 2 of Picard, we already have precedent. Liz, this is a tough decision, I don't doubt, but is there any inclination as to where you fall? So there'll be consequences either way. Either decision you make, there will of course be lasting consequences, but it's all very interesting consequences, so...
Well, I know. Let's see, if I don't join the Klingons, we probably lose the Grisha.
I like that as a thing. I might stay with the Federation, but I might lose the Grisha, in which case I should stick with the Klingons. But then I'm not with my Combs family, so I keep the Grisha, but I lose the others.
If I join the Klingons, one, I'm leaving the Combs. Two, I doubt if I go back to the Federation, I'm still gonna be a commander. I mean, I could always, after the war, talk about the way we did with Lieutenant Dorn, but you never know. That might not work.
That is a good point. Lieutenant Dorn is more than likely going to be recalled. So you won't have your auxiliary tactical officer either, because she's Klingon and she is being pulled back to the Empire, so... either way, the Combs is losing that supporting character for the moment. Until otherwise notified. So yes, once again, I'm asking the same question. Left or right? Klingons or Federation? Blood family or crew family? We've only got 10 minutes left of the session, so we can drag this out, but it's going to happen in the next 10 minutes. And unfortunately, I don't think I can ask the other guys for any assistance for you, because they've already stated that they're okay with whatever you decide, so... It's a critical moment in your character and the other character's story. It has to be your decision. If any of the folks in chat want to give us some moral support, what they think she should go, feel free.
The thing is,
Agonizing over the decision here, which, as you should, it should not be taken lightly.
no.
And folks, at the moment, all they can see is my pretty face, hearing my grating tones. So, fill the silence for only so long. We could always flip a coin if you're having difficulty.
Here's the sad part. I have already did that.
Oh my god! And then you second guessed the result, didn't you?
I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to word this.
We will work it however the coin lands. It's fine. Like I said, either decision carries consequences, which can be fun because, you know, drama.
Consequences are the best thing in roleplay.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is so hard.
I know, but I'm still gonna have to ask for a decision. We've got 7 minutes left. You rolled a 50-50, so what was the result? Oh, she's not telling. Come on, Liz, what was the result?
I hope that we meet after this conflict.
Bravo. So,
And
yeah, go on.
not before the conflict ends.
Hey, she's made her decision. She's going to side with her family, with her blood family.
It had to roll high. It had to.
Lady Dark nods appreciatively at the magnitude of this decision, and of course Captain Sobek does too. Captain Sobek says, "This was not an easy decision for you, Trasa, and I do not envy the position you were put in. This is, of course, the best course of action that you thought you could do for yourself and your family, and now that we are members of that house, I, for one, echo your sentiment. May we meet after the conflict, and not before." Okay. So... this, of course, now has interesting ramifications for the very near future of our game. I am assuming now this is Trasa saying, a temporary goodbye to Admiral Hebert. Who, unless you have any specific words for her.
No, a temporary goodbye and basically handed her back the commander's pips.
On badge, yeah. And the pips, okay. As Trasa is about to hand over the commander's pips, Admiral Hebert just puts her hand on Trasa's hand and goes, "Hold on to them, because you'll be back. And I expect you to be wearing the proper uniform when you do come back." So, your fellow Combs crew members, and now fellow members of House Krell, of course, have got to now say their temporary farewells to their first officer, which introduces an interesting conundrum for the Combs going forward, but also it introduces an interesting dynamic for us as well with the continuation of Season 2. And I will say this. Thank God you did choose to go with your Klingon family in the end, because as it happens, I now have a few Klingon-centric episodes in mind for some certain episodes of Season 2. The specifics of which we will get into later. But, needless to say, that even though a good many of the continuation of Season 2's episodes are going to be aboard the Combs, there are going to be more than a few episodes as well that we will now see following what happens to Trasa in the Klingon side of the coming conflict. So, yes. Where will Trasa end up? Will she end up on a ship? Will she end up on Captain Akul's ship? Will she end up on a House Krell ship? We'll have to wait and see. How well will she be received? Will they see her as somebody who's been on the Federation side of things for too long and is therefore as alien to them as the Federation, or will they welcome her with open arms? We will have to see. And in that regard, if there are Klingon-centric episodes coming up, then that means, potentially, that Liz's fellow players here probably will actually get the chance to play as Klingons.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So the specifics of that will become evident later on, but for everybody else, for the moment, who are watching, you'll have to wait and see. But with that very, very poignant ending of Commander Trasa now finally stepping over to the other side, welcomed by General Kargan and Captain Akul and the other Klingons, of course, along with Lady Dark. Excuse me. We draw our ending to our episode.
Oh, she would also
go on.
Kind of like rubbing it in the face of General Cool. Be like, by the way, you might want to show at least the bridge officers of the Combs a little bit more respect, as they are a member of House Krell.
Captain Akul definitely agrees. They were afforded great honor and respect before. They will be afforded appropriate honor and respect now. You have my word. Kargan appears
really
less impressed.
I figured as much.
Nevertheless, acknowledges Federation former allies. So, unless anybody else has got anything else to add to proceedings as we close out this episode? Oh then. What happens from here?
Is Trasa going
go on,
to
sorry.
bring Zippy with her?
Say that again, sorry, Connie. I talked over you slightly there.
Sorry, is Trasa bringing Zippy with her?
That's a good point. Is the Muragar going as well?
Oh yeah, that's her little. That's her little assault Zippy.
A little assault
That
Muragar.
That little furry turncoat.
Yes, yes. The Councillor Sachs will be sorry to see him go. She helped train that little dude. But there we go. Trasa found him. Trasa beat him into unconsciousness. Trasa trained him. Trasa's taken him with her. Fair enough.
It's more of a remembrance as well of the Combs.
Yeah.
On top of.
She'll take with her. Okay. So what happens next, we shall have to see. But of course, that will have to wait for another 2 weeks' time as we take our usual inter-episode break. Thank you everybody who watched. I hope you found this as poignant and enjoyable and a little bit tear-jerking as I did. I didn't cry though. I promised I wouldn't, and I didn't. Maybe when the camera's off. Nevertheless, live long and prosper to you too, suitable substrate. Thanks for tuning in. So, yes, Liz, you were going to say something.
Now, theoretically, everyone could have to take that trait.
Yes, yes. Folks could take the Roost-Eye trait now, yeah, so... yeah, that would make sense, actually. That would be a good character trait for them to all to have. We'll add that in. Whew.
Next week, Tavish joins the ball. Fantastic. Next episode.
Stay tuned, yes. Actually, I'd have to people in chat and comments will have to start taking bets on how long it takes before Tavish eventually joins her real people in the Delta Quadrant. This is an infiltration method all along. They sent Travis here with a fake identity and an inclination towards developing biotechnology so that they could infiltrate from afar. In any case, folks are around in 2 weeks' time?
Should be, yeah.
So.
So, 30th. Yes, Dave.
I will not be.
No, Dave.
I will be coming back from camping over the weekend.
Okay. I will make note of that.
So,
Would you rather us delay then, or are you happy for folks to go on without you?
I'm happy for folks to go on without me.
Okay.
I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop proceedings.
Okies. All right then. Well, in that case, thank you then to everybody who watched. I hope you enjoyed it and found it just as emotionally punchy as I did. Thanks to everybody who is watching this also on YouTube. If you did enjoy it, consider giving us a like, especially because it helps promote our, not only this channel, but others like it, and role-playing, and Star Trek in general, to our Lord and Master, the algorithm. In a similar vein, because they have changed the way the algorithm works again, even if you have subscribed, you won't necessarily get notification of when our next videos drop, unless you choose to be choose notification all. And even then, I think you also have to go to your own notification settings to make sure that you do get notifications when we drop videos. They seem to be making it harder for us. So, but nevertheless, that was a hard choice for Liz, and we thank her for actually making it. But this is what we were building towards. So thanks, folks. And in this case, I will ask you to do as the Klingons do. Put family first, and may glory be to your houses as we continue on. But,
Kapla!
Kapla, indeed. Thank you, everybody. We will see when we see you next in 2 weeks. In the meantime, hailing frequencies are now closed.